This is the Good Government Show.
We're trying to make sure that technology is infused in every form of government, every facet, to help us be more efficient and effective in responding to the needs of our residents. How do we make sure that our systems aren't compromised? We've seen that happen in cities, and we try to do everything we can to stay ahead of that. We don't have to agree on some political issues, but I think we all want to see our cities and our residents, most importantly, maximize their well-being. Montgomery is a great city, founded in 1819. It is known as the birthplace of the Civil Rights Movement. It is a place with tremendous history.
I met Mayor Stephen Reed when he was leading a panel discussion called Innovative Cities. Naturally, when the Good Government Show hears innovation, we want to hear more. So on this episode, we're going to talk innovation in Montgomery, Alabama. Welcome to the Good Government Show. I'm your host, Dave Martin. First, help us share the message of good government by liking us and sharing us where we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Please share our show with your friends, and don't forget to review us. Let's get everyone excited about good government. So one of the first topics we talked about was trash. Trash pickup, trash, right? But hey, when the trash isn't collected, everyone notices. So Mayor Reed explains how innovative technology helped with trash collection and many other city services. We discussed how innovations by the mayor and staff resulted in creating new offices, including a new grants office, and that resulted in millions of dollars coming into the city. Montgomery has an interesting history. It's both the birthplace of the Confederacy, but it's also the birthplace of the Civil Rights Movement. Back in 1955, Rosa Parks refused to give up her bus seat, sparking the Montgomery bus boycott and kickstarting a national movement. As Mayor Reed will tell you, that history in many ways continues to drive his term as mayor and the city of Montgomery. So coming up, Mayor Stephen Reed of Montgomery, Alabama. AI, the cloud, security solutions, all hot topics that are transforming how government works. Amazon Web Services is here to help government on the federal, state, and local levels figure out what's next and what's right for them. Join Amazon Web Services at the DC Summit in Washington, D.C. on June 10th and 11th and learn from industry leaders. You can participate in technical sessions and get hands-on training. You can hear directly from AWS experts who understand what government needs and network with others who are working just like you. Get up to speed on the latest information and plan your technology future with the support you need and want. Register now at aws.com/DC Summit, and I'll see you in Washington. AI isn't the future of government, it's happening now. Let Polimorphic power your government with AI like other agencies are already doing. Polimorphic helps you power resident-first service to streamline requests while reducing staff workloads and speeding up how your citizens get answers. It's a secure system that's built for government. You'll see immediate results with more informed citizens. Want to see how AI can help you power a service-first government? Visit polymorphic.com. That's polymorphic.com. County government affects more people than any other form of government. That's why we like talking to so many representatives of county government here on the Good Government Show. They are the voice of public service. The National Association of Counties, or NACO, supports all 3,069 counties across the USA. This year, their annual conference is in Philadelphia in July. Plan to attend the conference and join them in their efforts to bring good government to America's counties. Check out the details at naco.org. That's naco.org. Welcome to the Good Government Show. We're very happy to have Mayor Steve Reed of Montgomery, Alabama. I was a native of Alabama, so it's nice to meet a fellow Alabamian.
All right, always good to meet you as well.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to talk to you because you were part of a panel discussion about innovative cities.
Yeah.
So tell me what's some of the things that you're doing in your city that are quite innovative that got you up on the stage here at the Conference of Mayors?
Well, I think for a lot of us, and certainly Montgomery is no different, we're trying to use data to help us drive better decision making. We're trying to make sure that technology is infused in every form of government, every facet, to help us be more efficient and effective in responding to the needs of our residents. And for us, that's everything from trash pickup to public safety.
How has trash pickup helped?
Well, trash pickup has helped, for us because it's allowing us to see kind of where our route should be, how to be more efficient there.
Okay.
And really whether or not we still need to be under some of the routes that we have been on just because the city has grown, the city has expanded. But you have now in some parts of our area not as much of a dense population as you do others.
Okay.
So we're trying to utilize that.
So the city shifted and changed?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're trying to utilize that to see, can we continue to cover the city with our fleet? Do we need to do a public-private initiative there, privatize part of that? And will that help us be more effective or maybe even cut back, some of the services from what we have been doing to maybe now what people are utilizing in our city as it relates to, and people are expecting as it relates to garbage and trash pickup.
What else are you doing? What you mentioned that was one of them. That's where I stopped you.
Listen, no, I could go on and on.
I have all the time as long as you do.
I think for us, certainly we want to make sure that our infrastructure is protected from ransomware attacks, from cybersecurity. Is a priority for us, again, in terms of using technology. How do we make sure that our systems aren't compromised? We've seen that happen in cities, and we try to do everything we can to stay ahead of that. And then I think, probably the last big thing that I would, say in terms of technology-wise is how do we make sure that people have access to it throughout our city? How do we make sure that people have access to high-speed internet? We have places in our city that low to moderate income residents don't have it. That's an issue for us.
Sure.
In terms of education, it's an issue for us in terms of what I would say is the overall.
Because for some kids, if you don't have internet access, you can't do your homework.
That's correct. So it impacts our city tremendously, and we have to lead that effort to make sure we have fiber that's connecting our residents to this. I say opportunity, but really it's more of a necessity. These days, more so now than ever before.
Have you done anything to alter, your library services to accommodate people who maybe don't have internet at home?
Well, in terms of our library services, we have created, mobile Wi-Fi spaces.
Okay.
And we try to make sure that our Wi-Fi signal, even if you're outside or if you're inside our library, if you're in your car, you don't want to come in, it's accessible for you to utilize, whether it's on your phone or on a laptop. But certainly we've expanded our lab, our computer lab, so that there's just more access for people to get high-speed internet so they can do the things, whether it's filling out a job application, whether it's telemedicine, telehealth initiatives, all those things they can do because not everyone, again, has access to it like I thought at least prior to COVID. And so we're still learning from that experience and try to make sure government is responsible in that way.
You lead the city of Montgomery, the capital.
Yeah.
The state doesn't always cooperate with the things that you're trying to do in your city. How do you manage that?
You have to try to show the state leadership why it's in their best interest, why it's in the best interest of the region, and to take local
politics. That's a hard job. That's quite
it is very hard.
Yeah, sure.
It's why they pay mayors the big bucks, I guess, right?
You're getting the big bucks, are you?
Yeah. It's kind of like these corporate CEOs.
Right.
Mine is several zeros. But, from our standpoint, it's a matter of finding that middle ground with our state leaders and making sure that, we can show them what the impact is going to be for residents that they serve as well. We don't have to agree on, some political issues, but I think we all want to see our cities and our residents, most importantly, maximize their well-being.
So this is the Good Government Show. Tell me about some of the good government projects you've initiated.
Well, one is the performance audit. The city had never done a performance audit, and we did that. No. And it's something that we'll start doing now every 5 to 7 years. And it was a deep dive into our operation and processes and those that were, susceptible to waste, those that were susceptible to mismanagement. And we brought in a great accounting firm, to McConnell Jones out of Houston to help us do that, along with Jim White and others in our city to really identify ways that we needed to shore up our government practices to save the taxpayers money. And we'll be doing that to the tune of $2 million moving forward based off of recommendations that they have and those things that we're starting to implement now. So that's something that took quite a while. It took about 1.5 years for us to do. but it has been well worth it from our standpoint. The second thing is, we looked at realigning, restructuring our city, again, to be a more effective local government. We had not had a reorganization in the city in well over a decade. So we added positions, we added departments, eliminated others that were more reflective of where our city is now and where the city needs to be. So we created an Office of Violence Prevention. We created an Office of Inspections, Permitting, and Planning. We created Office of Inspector General. So these are things that we did, and we eliminated some other offices, such as Department of General Services, and some that we didn't think really needed to be their own agency, if you will, under the city government. And then we brought along a grants department. Believe it or not, our city had never had a full-time grants department until I got elected in 2019. How you operate a city without a grants department, I have no idea. But our grants department has brought in hundreds of millions of dollars in my first term alone, and that's been significant, for us to do.
Tell the folks a little bit about Montgomery. Tell me about your city.
Montgomery is a great city. Founded in 1819, it is known as the birthplace of the Civil Rights Movement. It is a place with tremendous history. It is a state government capital. Our largest, private employers would be Hyundai Motor Manufacturing. We are the home to their only North American plant in Montgomery.
Okay.
We have a large Air Force presence because of Maxwell Gunter Air Force Base, and a great tradition with our United States military. But we are probably known more for being a government town, being the home of the state capital, that and automotive manufacturing. But what we want to do is to diversify that economy, certainly keeping the manufacturing base strong, but diversify to be able to bring in smart and talented people in the knowledge-based economy, and utilizing our 5 colleges and universities that we have, including Alabama State University, which is the oldest historically black college and university in the state of Alabama. Very significant for us to utilize that young talent and to utilize, the opportunities for higher ed to bring in federal dollars, and for us to work with them along those lines.
Tell folks about your civil rights history.
The civil rights history predates Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who led the 381-day bus boycott.
Right.
After Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat to a white passenger on Montgomery's segregated bus lines. It led to the modern civil rights movement that culminated in the signing of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, both of which are under threat right now. And so, we are very sensitive to the winds nationally because of our history and how that's played locally. But, for us, we have a, interesting observance of the pain of this nation, because Montgomery is also the birthplace of the Confederate States of America, led by Jefferson Davis, and then the progress of America, led by the men and women and children of the civil rights movement who marched toward freedom without any protection from the state or the local government, and who really only had to rely on the federal government to assist them as they sought full equality and full citizenship in this country.
Does that tradition sort of weigh on you a little bit?
Oh, listen, it fortifies everything I do. It's the backbone of what I do. But we can't be a city known for that and not practice it. And I think there are too many still who prefer the moniker over, really digging into the mantra of it. And that's important. We have to be a more compassionate city. We have to be a city that leads from the standpoint of what is equal and what is equitable. We have to make sure that we're a city that's looking policy-wise to carry that torch, to carry the lantern forward of light through the rest of this nation, because that's what we have been. That's why I'm the first black mayor in the 200-year history of the city. I was born and raised there. So many of the luminaries.
You're the first black mayor in the history of Montgomery.
That's correct.
That's history making.
Well, it is. It is.
What made you decide to run for mayor?
The city wasn't changing fast enough, or really much at all.
And you're a young guy, and you said I could do this.
Yeah, we said we could do it, and probably should have done it sooner.
Okay,
but,
probably.
But we did it, got 67% of the vote, and we've been rolling ever since, and we've been bringing about a new city and a new vibe
to our community. Did people tell you you're never going to win because no black man's ever won the race for mayor?
Well, they told me that when I ran my first race in 2012 for countywide judge, and so that was a 3-term incumbent that I beat who was a Republican at the time. And that's when I was sold I wouldn't win. And by the time I got to 2019, 7 years later, I think they knew if I was going to run, I was going to win. So I didn't hear that quite as much.
I see. Okay. What inspires you to run for mayor? I mean, you said you wasn't making changes fast enough. What were you trying to do? I think I came, very luckily out of the school of watching President Obama win and make history, obviously, in 2008. That was a major inspiration for me to run in 2012. And, running for mayor, I just wanted to be able to put my finger on the scale more than I could on the bench. Okay.
So, when you're a judge, you're kind of the referee. You're not really an active player. As the mayor, you're the quarterback. You're the pitcher, you're the point guard, whatever sports analogy, you're the general, whatever analogy you want to use.
Quarterback.
That's right. You get a chance to dictate and to set the temperature of your city. And
is it working out?
It's working out. It is. And we're growing. We've had the best economic development years in our city's history. We continue to build our public-private partnerships. Oh, those grants are big. But that's more so on the public-private partnership side. The big piece on the economic development has been letting national and international companies know that we're open for business and that this is not just a, keep it small, keep it all, mindset, right? That the good old boys days are over and that we really want to bring in the best and the brightest and those who can help our residents. We aren't just satisfied with being mediocre Montgomery. We want to maximize Montgomery. And that's what we have focused on since we've been in 2019 and continue to now in this second term.
All right. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back and we're going to get your philosophy on government.
All right.
These are difficult times. And if you believe in justice, progress, and democracy, the news you read and listen to can be pretty depressing. And that's why there's a new podcast called Good News for Lefties and America. Every day it features positive news stories for progressive listeners. Because no matter how disturbing the headlines might be, there's always hope we can build on for a better tomorrow. Good News for Lefties and America. Listen on this platform at goodnewsforlefties.com or wherever podcasts are heard.
Okay, so this is called the Good Government Questionnaire, and we're going to find out your true thoughts on government.
All right.
You've been mayor for 3 years now?
4.5 years.
4.5 years.
Yeah.
Define good government.
Good government is one that helps people improve their lives.
That simple.
That's simple.
Can you expand on that?
Yeah, I think good government is one that listens and understands the needs of our neighbors and residents and uses the system that's been created to do good. I mean, it's really just that simple. Are you putting in policies in place that improve the lives of your residents? And are you improving the environment around them to help them achieve the American dream? That to me is what government should be able to do. It is not to be the end all be all, but it should play a role in that.
How do you judge your success? How do you know if you're doing a good job?
Ultimately, you know about whether or not that the people won't want you back. So
the elections are every 4 years in between, week to week, day to day. How
listen,
do you know?
I think when we set our goals and objectives and we take a look at where we are, we look at the metrics that we want to see improve. And in some areas, we're doing great. In other areas, we may think we're not doing so well.
Yeah.
And so we try to find out, how we improve our station as a city. But I'll also tell you this, talking to other mayors around the country, we don't look at it by party. We don't look at it by geography. We talk to mayors around this country about what they're doing on certain issues and initiatives. And we say, okay, are we doing as well as we can? Do we know about that partnership? Do we know about this collaboration? Can we do things to make our community more environmentally friendly? Can we do things to bring about more clean air, more sustainability to our residents in our city? Can we do things to make our streets safer, to take more guns off the streets? Can we do things to help our small businesses and those entrepreneurs that are the backbone of our economy? You have to start looking at those basic things. And then, of course, you get to the roads and the trash pickup. I mean, that goes without saying.
Okay.
But those are the things that we try to look at to make sure that we're doing well. And then finally, I think you look at the index of your residents to see how they feel about the city.
You were on a panel with Lily Wu, the mayor of Wichita, Kansas. What did you learn from her?
As a new mayor, she's got some great ideas for Wichita. Very excited about her leadership. And I think it's, having smart people like that running our cities that gives me a lot of motivation to do a little bit more. And from their standpoint, it's about really reaching from neighbor to neighbor and making sure that as a community, they're unified in their approach to be a better city, to bring better services to their residents, and also, just to make sure that from a transparency and trust standpoint, she has that with her residents, and that's something that's very important.
Did you swap numbers? You going to check in with her later this year?
Oh, yeah. I told her I wanted to get out to Wichita and asked her if she ever been to Alabama. She said no, so I said, you got to come during football season, and I'll check out some good SEC football. We have a good time.
I'm more of an ACC guy, Florida State, sorry.
All right, well, I think Florida State may be SEC bound here pretty soon. So
we'll see. I don't know how this is going to go. So if people don't feel like that you're delivering the government that you say you're going to do, what should they do?
I think if people don't feel like we're delivering the government we say we're going to deliver, one, to let us know. And we normally get that, whether it's at a town hall, a neighborhood meeting, or even via email and social media these days, certainly our city council meetings. But also, they have to ask, okay, what are you expecting? All right, because sometimes the expectations aren't at the local level, they're at the state and federal level. So is it something that local government can do? And if so, then how can we play a better role, and how can we amplify that need? And I think, for us, listening is key, making sure that we listen to our residents and their needs, starts there. And then for us, we have to see how we can act on it, how we can move in a way that brings about the difference that they want to see ultimately in their lives.
You've been mayor for 3 years now?
4.5 years.
I'm sorry, 4.5 years.
Second term. Don't take away that re-election.
No.
There we go.
My mistake. What would you like people to know about government as a government insider?
Government moves slow.
Okay. You move fast.
I do. It doesn't move as fast for most mayors as we would like.
Okay.
I think government was set up that way intentionally and deliberately so that, barring any shift, it could not be turned on a dime, right? So it's not the private sector, never will be. I think the other thing is that a lot of mayors that are here at the U.S. Conference of Mayors and others are looking for ways to make it more efficient. We're looking for ways to make it more relatable to where communities are right now, not where they were 10, 20, 30 years ago. And we have to also project forward, right? We have to also project where do we need to go as a government? How do we allocate these dollars that the taxpayers allow us to, expend on their behalf? And then how do we measure the impact? Those are things that we have to continue to do.
What's the best part of being mayor that made you want to do it again?
I think that for me, there was unfinished business. There's still work to be done. And it is that drive to really see the difference and make an impact that drove me to say, let's figure out how we address some of these issues that may have been a little slow in our response, or maybe from another party's response, but certainly slow to implement. Let's continue to do the work to make people's lives better.
What's the hardest part of being mayor?
Time away from your family.
Okay. All right. So you make news, but where do you get your news?
I get my news everywhere, from social media to traditional news to
social
podcast
media,
and radio.
Thanks for the podcast plug.
Yeah.
Social media is kind of a two-edged sword, though, isn't it?
Oh, it definitely is. It certainly is.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that, for us, you have to use it for what it is, but you have to understand its limitations, but also its strengths.
Okay. Who's your political hero? Who inspires you?
Martin Luther King Jr.
Okay. Anyone else?
My father, Joe Reed.
What's your father? Was he in politics? Was
he
in
is.
Government?
He was one of the first black city councilmen in the group in 1975.
Okay.
To come on the Montgomery City Council. He's also the chairman of the Alabama Democratic Conference, the oldest black caucus in Alabama, founded in 1965, the same year as the Voting Rights Act. And he's someone that has inspired me for a long time. And then certainly, as I mentioned earlier, President Barack Obama.
Does your father criticize and critique your work?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. He's encouraging, but, he's like any dad. He has his thoughts and opinions about things.
And he's not shy about telling you?
Not shy at all.
Is that good?
It depends on the topic.
You said you were inspired by Martin Luther King. Is this something you always thought of doing, is going into public service and going into elected office?
No, I didn't.
You weren't president? You weren't class president?
No, I ran away from it. I was the hell nose.
Okay.
When people would ask me, about running. And again, I tell people, when you're growing up, the son of a PK, and I talk about it in my book, First Best, Lessons in Leadership from the Civil Rights Movement. You're either a preacher's kid, you either want to be in the church or you don't. And when you're a politician's kid, you either want to be in it or you don't. And I didn't want to be in it.
But yet here you are.
But yet here I am, right? It's just one of those things where you learn that God has plans that we cannot foresee, and we have to follow that, and that's what I do, and that's why we continue to do our work.
I have been to Alabama a few times, not Montgomery.
Oh, you got to come to Montgomery. Hey, the New York Times named us one of the 24 places to visit in 2024. You only got 52 weeks. Okay. You're down about half the year. You still got a few more weeks left.
Time. All right. Well, maybe we'll see how things go to the fall.
Yeah.
I think FSU plays Auburn.
All right, that's close enough.
All right, let's go out. What are we having? What's the cuisine of Montgomery? What are we having in Albany?
Oh man! Listen. Look. If you come to Montgomery, Alabama, we got to give you some real, soul food and some
absolutely
good Southern cooking. I mean, we're gonna do some grits. We're gonna do some bacon, some Conecuh sausage.
Okay.
Some toast and jelly. Some scrambled eggs. I got 3 or 4 places I can take you for that. We'll do some salmon croquettes. We'll do a little pork chop and macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
Candy yams, some green beans, some collard greens. We'll have a good time.
You got a ribs place?
What's that?
You got a barbecued ribs place?
Oh, we got several barbecue grills places.
Yeah. What are your favorites?
Oh man, you're gonna get me in trouble.
What's your order? What's your anyone?
What's
your order?
So listen. All right, for barbecue, because you know what? Because we're here in Kansas City, and I really have to take a little umbrage here about Kansas City being the barbecue capital of the world. Memphis says they are.
There was a barbecue party last night. Did you attend?
I did.
And what'd you think?
I thought that I could bring my folks from Montgomery out here, and I think we can compete.
Okay.
Bigger and always better.
Okay. All right.
So that's what I think.
What's your order at a barbecue joint?
Oh, my order is going to be brisket.
Brisket?
Yeah, it's going to be brisket.
All right, can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
You're one full term, and you're in your second term as mayor. It's the Good Government Show. We always want to bring it back to good government. Give me an example of a good government project you're excited about.
Well, we're excited right now about partnering with Bloomberg Philanthropies in our City Data Alliance to really look at how to bring more innovation to government, to all of our practices, from our financials to our public works department. How to make sure that we're using innovation and technology, again, to help save taxpayers' dollars, but to increase the impact that government can have. So we've been relying on a lot of old practices, a lot of archaic processes and procedures. And what we're able to do right now is we're able to cut out some steps in our business permitting process. We're able to look at areas in our Parks and Recreation Department that allow us to identify.
Innovation and change is not always well received. How are you doing with that?
That's another good question. It's not always well received. I guess it takes that trust factor.
Especially when some young guy comes in and says, I'm going to fix this.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you have to over-communicate it. You have to make sure that, you're sharing with your residents why it's going to improve things, and to be patient. And so we talk about, how we have evolved and how we watch TV, how we get our news and information, how we call and communicate with people, even how we drive and we go to the doctor. All that came through innovation. So often what you have to say is that government is much the same way. It cannot stay the way it was, and we can expect modern results and impact. That's why we bring those things in, and we have to, continue to listen to their feedback, but also give them a little bit of a vision for why we're doing the things that we're doing.
Mayor Stephen Reed of Montgomery, Alabama, it was a pleasure talking with you. It was a pleasure to meet you, and good luck with the SEC of the fall.
Hey, thanks so much. We look forward to seeing you in Montgomery sometime soon.
Sure hope so. Thank you.
All right. Yes, sir.
The Good Government Show is sponsored by Our. That's OUR for our community. Get involved. We hear that all the time from government leaders. Our co-brands with your government's name and logo. Your staff and the people you serve are connected and part of your community. From any device, your members provide reliable data and meaningful feedback. Ask a question like, do we want more parkland or better homeless services? More engaged conversations come through the Our app. Visit Ourco, that's OURCO.com, and book a demonstration. After you get done with this episode, hear more good government stories with our friends at How to Really Run a City. Former mayors Kasim Reed of Atlanta and Michael Nutter of Philadelphia, and their co-host, journalist and author Larry Platt, talk with guests and other mayors about how to really get stuff done in cities around the nation. Check them out where you're listening now or through their nonprofit news site, thephiladelphiacitizen.org/podcasts. Meeting Mayor Reed, I can tell you, he does move fast. I liked his line, what is equal and what is equitable? He ran for mayor because, in his words, the city wasn't changing fast enough. So he got involved, he ran, and he won. And now that he's mayor, he's still running to make changes, to innovate and improve. And that's good government. Add a little Southern soul food, and you've got a city worth paying attention to. Well, that's our show. Thanks for listening. Please like us and share us with your friends and review us right here where you're listening. And check out our website, goodgovernmentshow.com, for extras. Help us keep telling stories of good government in action everywhere. Join us again for another episode right here. I'm Dave Martin, and this is The Good Government Show. The Good Government Show is a Valley Park production. Jim Ludlow, Dave Martin, that's me, and David Snyder are the executive producers. Our show is edited and produced by Jason Stershic. Please subscribe, then share us, and like us and review us. That's the best way to make sure we're able to keep telling these stories of our government working for all of us. Then listen to the next episode of The Good Government Show.